Walker for the tie. Oh, Roma! I don't believe it. Lonnie Walker, the fourth, has just tied the game. Rockets to try to win it. Harden, no! Hurdle with the rejection. Absolutely ridiculous.
Yes, the Colin McIntyre birthday miracle, where the Houston Rockets earned their nickname, the Cheating McDouchebags, inspired by the usage by Kamikaze Games in his EA NASCAR Thunder videos, or EA NASCAR videos, whichever, because I know Chase for the Cup and 06 were, 05 and 06 were not Thunder, it was, Chase to the Cup and Total Team Control, where, Kamikaze plays in the career mode, where, when he gets to later in the career mode, far in the career mode, and he gets good to the wins contending for championships with the real life drivers, he'll use the whole cheating McDouchebag term, like Tony Stewart in Thunder 04, Rod and Hornaday and Chase for the Cup 2005. I've never seen him play 06. I don't think he's done that on his channel. But I only seen him play Thunder 03 once with the breaking the game, get certain people to retire. Or Thunder 04 breaking your game to get certain drivers to retire. Well, he just hitting random people to see who's going to retire regardless. But he's not done a Thunder 03 career mode. So, therefore, we're going to save all this EA NASCAR talk for the future series for another day, maybe years down the road when the equipment improves. But that was the night the Rockets earned their nickname, inspired by Kamikaze, the cheating McDouchebags, where they protested a game against us, where the guy his video is all about tore that shit up like Terry Labonte. As I mentioned before, it was my ultimate guy best friend, Colin McIntyre's Greg Biffle Sweet 16 at the time. So it was the Colin McIntyre birthday miracle. So therefore, I know Colin McIntyre doesn't use his YouTube channel. He just graduated from high school, is about to go to Bowling Green, for his next 4 years of college. So subscribe to him. Link is in the description. Also subscribe to Kamikaze Games. Link is in the description. So therefore, Lonnie Walker the fourth is no longer a San Antonio Spurs. First DeJounte, then Jock, now Lonnie Skywalker the fourth. After, all he done for us, the cheating McDouchebag game, the Colin McIntyre birthday miracle 3 years ago. To be fair, even at, in the last 2 years, after that season, even though he barely got playing time, now I see why Pop barely gave him any playing time until trash. I mean, to be fair, this not like I'm defending Pop, giving, washed up Marco minutes, because that version of Marco, I mean, the first version, as we all know, contributed to a championship winning team. But you got to admit, considering when we brought him back the second time, he was old as fuck, and that version of Marco did suck. That first one was good. The second one was sucked. I'm not defending Pop for giving that version of Marco over excessive minutes because of how much he sucked. But at the same time, I can see why Pop also did not play Lonnie much like we wanted him to. I mean, if you're not gonna play him much the way you did, fine. But don't use a washed up player like Bellinelli, who's not his 2014 self, by then anymore. I mean, use a younger player. I mean, he could have used rookie Keldon, but of course, we had, King of Bitching it up saying otherwise. But now I explain why, as bad as Trashinelli and King of Bitching it up were, I can see why Lonnie did not get much minutes in 1920 until Trashinelli and King of Bitching it up left the next year, when we had that season, that weird season where it was 72 games. It was most of the games no fans allowed. Towards the end of the season, it was going to limited fans, and that season started after Christmas, and it didn't. We went the regular season, as you all remember, went through where it's normally playoff time. Maybe that's part of the trend and the pattern I was developing last year, where we skipped spring weather right into summer weather by March, which is why it was still mid-regular season in March 2021. And then usually when we got to the April month of April, it was still the middle of the regular season, and that would be normally in normal circumstances, like this year for once, where the first round of the playoffs would be happening, and then May we got to 2021, we got to the play-in. We got to the first ever play, which normally would be the Western the play this conference semis, and then going into conference finals normally towards the end of May, going into early June. Where like the end of May, going into early June, we were reaching the first round and the second round. By the end of June, early July, it was the conference finals. This is normally when the champions already, like this year was back to normal. This was when normally a champion was already decided, usually by July when the Bucks won the finals. You know, King of bitching it up, lucked into a ring, because he went to a championship team where, you know, next year his garbage bitch ass was knocked out of the first round with Denver. So when the Bucks go to the championship, when they did, now normally when we'd be seeing summer league and off-season moves being already done, you know. It was a weird time, you know. And during that time, you know, when Lonnie was getting more minutes than Trash and Ellie and King of Bitching and Up were gone. I mean, he was playing good to begin with, but then as, you know, these Lonnie whispers on Twitter, you know, Stephen Hale, this Austin guy in Corner Spurs mentioned, you know, he was starting. They were my Lonnie whispers, and I noticed they were right this whole time, and I'm glad they were right because, you know, he ended up leaving, considering, you know, Spurs didn't want him back. You know, those three Spurs in particular, Hailstone, you know, Austin, you know, with the Austyn, and the corner Spurs dude, maybe that's why they were slandering him, because he was stinking it up like Terry Labonte. And they were right, not only because he ended up leaving, the Spurs dumped his ass, you know, sent him to LA to play with LeChoke, but who didn't even make the playoffs again, yet Tim Duncan made the playoffs every single year. LeBron couldn't even do that, you know, missed the playoffs in his first two seasons in the league with Cleveland, but that's a conversation we're going to save for another day. You know, Lonnie, on the other hand, was, I noticed his downfall, like, towards the end of the 2020-2021 season. Oh, yeah, in the playoffs, by the time we got to the playoffs in 2021, they allowed full capacity back in the stands again. But by the time we got towards the end of the 2021 season, Lonnie was starting to play really, really bad. I noticed his downfall, and even this past season, he wasn't playing all that great either. I mean, you know, considering a calf injury, you know, if I'm not mistaken, kind of wasn't, you know, doing him any favors either. But yeah, I kind of knew, like, towards the end of this past season that Lonnie was gone. I kind of knew it. I know he had some, like, you know, good games here and there, but it didn't change the fact that it was a downfall. It was just a downfall, and, you know, as far as his career in San Antonio goes, I don't know how he's going to do on the Lakers, and as much as I don't like him, I don't hate him as much anymore now as I did when Shaq and Kobe won the team and, you know, kicking our asses every year outside of 99 and 03 when we beat them to win our first and second championship respectively, you know, or even 2013, you know. Because, you know, 19-year-old me, when Kobe was hurt and we swept the Lakers in 2013, the first round, 22-year-old me was more biased and said we still would have won even if Kobe had played. But now, I know I'm probably I'd probably start saying this just because he died all of a sudden 2 years ago. But I bet you now, even if he were alive now, I'd be saying the same thing. I would have loved to have seen Kobe and Tim duke it out one more time in 2013. 19-year-old me would have said otherwise, but a 28-year-old adult current me, you know, believes, you know, 19-year-old me was biased, you know, saying that we still would win with or without Kobe, but adult me is more mature and realizes it would have been nice to, you know, truth is, it would have been nice to see Tim and Kobe go head-to-head one more time in the playoffs in 2013, the first round. Would we have still won? I think so. I think we probably would have won in 5 or 6 games instead of sweeping them, because Kobe was on a whole nother level in 2013, if y'all remember, until that, you know, Achilles heel, and then after that, last 3 years up until his retirement, until his last game we scored 60, he was never the same again. And you remember with Kobe, you know, not playing so well the last 3 seasons after that Achilles injury, Lakers missed the playoffs all 3 years in a row. So yeah, that was back when I still hated the team. I did like him as a person when he was alive, but as a growing up a Spurs fan, he was that one player I loved to hate because, during his prime and Tim's prime, he was the guy that gave us fits in the playoffs. Even when Robinson was there, and even the first year we didn't have Robinson when Fisher hit the lucky ass 4/10 of a second shot. The first year we didn't have Robinson, and the next year we got the last laugh with the first title without Robinson. We beat the Pistons in 7 when I was 11 and lived in Michigan in the Lenore house, and Kobe was sitting at home on the couch watching because it was his first year without Shaq. So we win, and Kobe's first year without Shaq, we win our first championship without D-Rob. So it's funny how that works. But, is that the garage? Okay, but it's raining outside, so that's why I knew it wasn't going out. It was hot as balls at work today, so therefore I got to do TikToks with my ViaQuest friends, and therefore, with the raining out the rest of the night, I'm not missing anything. So better today than tomorrow, Sunday, and Monday. Daylan Baker's grad party rager tomorrow. And then, neighborhood fun, tear it up like Terry Labonte 4th of July special for the Casey Atwood and Dale Jr. installments on Sunday and Monday. We're going to go bam like Ken Schrader and tear it up like Terry Labonte. But I've been rambling about random Spurs-related stuff, even though it's supposed to be about Lonnie. But yeah, I did give my opinions on Lonnie. I know he was what's the opposite of improving? I don't know, but whatever the opposite of improving is, that's what he was doing in the last 2 years with us. I don't know if he'll turn it all around with the Lakers, but knowing our luck, when we drop players in this modern era, it's like whenever we drop certain players and they go to another team, they start doing well with them and doing better with them than they did with us. I could see, my bias for the team died in the 2019-2020 season when it was our first year of, purgatory. Knowing this trend and pattern that's developed, since then, it's probably going to, knowing our luck, this trend and pattern that are developing, DeJounte and Jock are probably going to kick ass in Atlanta, and Lonnie's probably going to kick ass in Los Angeles with the Lakers, but we'll have to wait and see. But I'm noticing a trend and a pattern that's been developing since the 2019-2020 season. We get rid of the king of bitching it up to go to, Milwaukee. He does well and lucks into a ring, and, Giannis earned his. I like Giannis, but Bitch boy did not because, came back to the Spurs like he never left and picked up where he left off in the 2019-2020 season before the season was stopped and they went into the bubble, bubble where he didn't even get to play because he was hurt. I normally don't celebrate injuries, but Bellinelli and Forbes are 2 exceptions because they're 2 trash can pieces of shit. So, yeah, and then, remember we noticed something was fishy after the Spurs Cavs game in San Antonio that I went, shared, what was it? Oh yeah, that I went live with on Zoom with Sportshead Network. Yeah, that game where that was he actually did good in that game, but after that game they sat him out the last couple games he was with us for the second time, and then we traded him away. So there was an indicator when we weren't playing him the last 2 or 3 games after the Cleveland game in San Antonio, not one here in Ohio, that he was gone, and I'm glad he was because he was besides the 2019 playoffs and the Martin Luther King game against Phoenix, right before the pandemic, and besides, a few games where he carried us this past season, the first half, against Portland and Atlanta, what the fuck else did he do that was impactful and helpful and important to the Spurs organization? Nothing. Other than those 3 occasions I just named, he didn't do shit for us. So I don't know where he's going to go next. And not that the video's about him, and not that I care. But knowing him, if he doesn't stay in Denver, goes elsewhere, that's not San Antonio, he'll probably turn into Curry. So that's the trend and pattern that's been developing since, 2019, 2020, and 2020, 2021. We get rid of somebody and, they go to another team, and then, they do well and so much better with them than they did for us, just knowing our luck and this trend and pattern that's developing. So that's what I feel like is going to happen with DeJounte, Lonnie, and, Jacques Landale and Atlanta and Los Angeles and the Lakers and the purple and gold. But I'm just going to end this video by saying, like I said it once before, and I'll say it again. As long as we do not drop Zach and Trey, because my recency, modern bias is showing, I'll be happy. But this is going to be the end of this video. I'm going to wrap it all up right here. But I'm not going to do the regular outro speech because there's still 2 more videos to be uploaded tonight, as we got Disney Channel Night in America. We got, wait, how many episodes did we have of Bunked already? Oh my god. I know it's the Mark Martin installment of Villains of Valley View and Ultraviolet and Black Scorpion. So let me do the math here. So if we had, Villains of Valley View first, so the second installment of the other 2 was the Steve Parker installment of Bunked. The Dale Senior Austin Dillon installment of Villains of Valley View was the Rusty Wallace installment of Bunked. The Mike Skinner installment of the Villains at Ultra was, Villains of Bunked was, okay, 1, 2, 2, 3, 3, 4, 4, 5. Okay, yeah, this is the Terry Labonte installment of Bunked, I believe. Yeah, I just did the math. So it's the Terry Labonte installment of Bunked, and the Mark Martin installment of Villains of Valley View, Ultraviolet, and Black Scorpion later on tonight. So catch you all then. Good luck in Los Angeles, Lonnie.